All right, welcome to my shop. My name is Simon. I've had a YouTube channel for a long time, traveling around, living in vans, motorcycles, boats. Now I'm fixing up a Formosa 51 and setting out to sail around the world. I'm saying all of that because this is a tally-ho project, and all my tally-ho videos so far have brought in quite a lot of new viewers. So I thought maybe I'd go over some more basic stuff with you guys that you might not know about me and about my videos. There's a lot more in detail in all my previous videos. I've got nearly 1,000 on my channel now, and yeah, you can dig right through it. But we're gonna make tally-ho's covers for her 2 hatches. Now these hatches are really companionways, and so because they're companionways and have little boxes on them and windows and ventilation and all kinds of stuff, there's a lot of complicated little bits about this. So we're going to take our time. Now I've already gone in and made incisions on the seams where I want to put the seams so that I can get the pattern plastic to lay flat. That's the first step. Now the second step is to start tracing this onto my canvas that I got, and that's already come in, so we're going to get that out and we're going to start making some notes and give a little bit more detailed information on our canvas as we lay it out. I'm going to do this project with my FAF 545. You don't need a machine like this to do work like this, but this machine is more fun to use, more pleasurable to use than, for instance, the Sailrite, and it costs half as much, but you can't fit this particular machine in a boat necessarily. It's not what you'd call a portable machine. So it's really great here in this environment, in this shop, and it's only a $500 machine, and it does this job absolutely perfectly, and it's a lot older than I am. But you know what? She's treated me real well, and that's it. Other than that, it's just a ton of experience, and I've only got some experience, so we're gonna try not to mess this up. Now, canvas work is a funny industry. It doesn't make a lot of sense to folks who don't live or do stuff around boats very much because, well, if you've ever tried to get a quote for some canvas work on your boat, you'll know that it's incredibly expensive, and then you'll wonder, but why? Why should I spend all this money to get something made of canvas? It doesn't seem like it's very sturdy or will last forever, and also why would I cover all the beautiful woodwork on tally-ho? She's so pretty. Well, the truth of the matter is, Mother Nature is a cruel mistress, and she is always trying to destroy everything that we hold dear. And in this case, tally-ho is already facing the inevitable onslaught of entropy as the sun works her way through the veneers, the varnish on her covers and on her hatches. It is slowly being destroyed. Unless you want to be revarnishing all of your work every year, basically, or sometimes even more if you're in the tropics, then a nice cover will do wonders. And yes, everything on a boat is custom, and yes, it's a lot of work, and yes, that's why it's so expensive. I've got reference images here that I took during the fitting, and I've got chunks of prop shaft that I can just lay out across my project and straighten this all out. But there's going to be some slight inconsistencies because we're dealing with a tweed fabric. We have to make sure that we follow the grain, and I have pictures of the previous project right here so I can look at the grain there and match that. Looks like the grain runs stem to stern, so we'll run it stem to stern. Instead of tracing my pattern absolutely perfect, because as you can see these lines are straight but they're not perfectly straight, so instead I come along and I just dot it at several different places, and because I can see through the plastic, I just do it like that. And then I take the average of those and I make it nice and smooth and straight. right, so we started the assembling process. I know it doesn't look quite assembled yet, but we're stringing along these big long strings. Now these hatches are a little complicated because of course there's a big sliding companionway in the center and I need to make exclusions for that. But that being said, before we get into the hatch cover, we're going to do this zipper along the side. So this is the cantilevering opening something. Anyway, it has two portholes. It's like half a butterfly hatch that opens up, and because they're going to go to the tropics and it's going to be quite warm, we want to be able to keep the covers on, but we still want to get a ton of airflow and we don't want to get bugs. That means we're adding mesh and a zipper to this half butterfly hatch. It's a good thing I took a ton of photos because you always miss a few things, and it's great to have these reference photos to really look at the details, because there's always kind of a complication when you get to the plastic and I didn't put enough marks on it or didn't put actual physical measurements on certain things that needed measurements, so it's nice just to have this for reference. Alright, sewing, like welding, like a lot of skills, is basically putting together a puzzle in the right sequence. So one of the things that we do in sewing is try to assemble the panels while they're still in 2 dimensions, adding all of the things that they need. So I'm doing the main hatch cover right now, and it's got windows. It's got little round windows. Portholes they're called on a boat. But in order to do those windows, I also need to make a hem along the inside, which is kind of tricky because it's curled and curved and round, and getting that all to look flash and good is tricky, and there's 4 of them, so you want them to look uniform. So instead of fussing about and trying my best to make it all match, I just sew 4 layers of fabric in all together, and I just cut it all out at once, and now at least I'm starting from the same spot for all 4 windows. Alright, I got a problem. The fabric came in just the other day, and I hadn't unwrapped it till just now, but look at that. That was supposed to be gray. It's definitely black, and it's so dense. Barely any air is going to get through that. So because it's already black, and it was the only gray mesh that I could possibly get. I actually spent a small fortune on that, unfortunately. I'm just going to go for the regular black. It looks very similar to what's already on Tally Ho. It's just a little bit darker, and that's okay. And we're going to just do it that way. And if it sucks, then, you know, we can pull the stitches and fix it some other time. Alright, now that we have the porthole mesh installed, we also have the exclusion here for the combing around the cockpit that comes up to it. The last thing I have to do is the tiny little diamond eye plate that's right here. So to do that, I want to try and give it a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm going to make it slightly larger than it needs to be, and I'm going to give it a bit of a overhanging pocket that can just cover it up, but and keep the rain from getting in underneath, or sunshine, but just bag out a little bit so that it can kind of force its way in there, and then you can still clip hardware while the cover is on. And that means I'm gonna make like little pockets. I'm kind of emulating the design of like a pocket flap you'd see on a jacket or something like that. right, now we've assembled all of the panels into one continuous form. It's starting to take shape, but as you can see, now if I need to do any detail work to my panels, it's a lot harder. So ideally, I've gotten all of my shaping done beforehand, before we assemble all these panels together. Now, there are still plenty to do, especially along the top side. When I did my pattern, I didn't do the best job of patterning both for when the hatch is open and when the hatch is closed. I only really did everything while the hatch was closed. So now that I've kind of wrapped my head around this project a bit better, I'm realizing I should probably go dry fit that before I make any more cuts and any more alterations to the system. So the good news is that Leo is back in the bay today. Hopefully at some point he'll be here soon, and I can then bring my project out there and kind of fit the last few pieces I need to fit and mark everything and come back here and sew it. And he'll be sticking around here for about 48 hours hopefully, which will give me enough time to get all of this done. The other thing I should do before he gets here is, of course, iron out all my seams so that the whole project lays a lot flatter and my markings will be a lot more accurate that way. So I'm just going to go through everything, put it on the corner of my bench here, and just steam out all these seams.
All right, the hatch covers are great, but now we're gonna make an entire boom tent, and that means a lot of fabric. How much fabric, Simon?
60 feet on this roll right here.
We're gonna use all of it just to make this boom tent.
Alright, Tally-ho's back in the harbor here, so we're just going to do a little bit of dry fitting, figure out those hatches, how they open and close, and hopefully get this project all tickety-booed finished up. These windows lined up really nicely, but I'm noticing the hem's okay here. Maybe like the more it settles in, the more I'll have enough hem material, but I kind of figured I might run out of material at the bottom here. So I left a little extra. There's a lot extra at the front here. So that's sitting in a, not exactly what I intended spot, but it's actually working out really well.
And the mesh bit is on zippers, right? Or is it on zips? I can't quite recall.
I think, well, originally we talked about doing like the common sense fasteners.
Okay, yeah.
Why'd you have to make such a complicated hatch, man? You're like, oh, Simon, don't worry. It's just like a couple of hatches. You know what a hatch cover is? Just like a box, right? It's just a little box.
Sorry, dude.
It's almost like the internet built this crazy, expensive, ridiculous, over-the-top boat.
Let's see. What about if we don't bother with the mesh?
Oh, I want to do the mesh. Come on, man. You're going to the tropics. You're going to want the mesh.
You're just complaining it's too complicated.
I'm complaining that you built this. This is on you. There's a funny thing about doing work on a small island where you're never really doing the same job twice. Everything is a bit different, and so all the experience I've gathered is not really prepared me that well for this particular job, because there is no other companionway slash hatch slash ventilation slash windows slash eyelets slash whatever this is. I've never done something like this exactly before. I've done hatches, I've done companionways, I've done dodgers and biminis, I've done some enclosures, I've done some covers, but this one is going to be quite a bit different, and as a result I've made some pretty minor mistakes that turned into some pretty major headaches down the road. This is my first of 7 dry fits, so in the spirit of speeding things up a little bit, let's just hit the highlight reel. Doing the hatch covers first. These are going to be the little skirts that go underneath the hatch cover, and the idea is we want to make it tight enough that it just flicks on barely, like you just can get it on, but not so tight that you can't get it on. Now, the problem with solution dyed acrylic, aka Umbrella,
is it does not stretch. Some would say that's a feature, but in this case, it is a flaw, and it's going to cause me a little bit of trouble. So, normally, if you want something to be absolute drum tight on a box, you cut a 45, and that's where the butt joints go on 45s on these seams, and it's just tight, right? And then if you cut it anywhere less than that, so if I put this at a 30-degree angle, for instance, it's going to be a bit loose. So that's the idea. I think we're going to build this box. It's going to have it's going to seam onto the top layer, and then it's going to have a 90-degree seam just to allow for that 3/4 inch of wood that the hatch is actually made out of. And then it's going to dip in, but instead of going at a full 45, we're going to go maybe 30-35 degrees, and we'll see if it fits. And if it's snug enough or too snug. We'll find out soon. Alright, we're back in the shop. I'm working on the hatch covers. Did a little dry fit late last night. I didn't film it, but I decided to add a little tiny bit of elastic cord inside the lower flap of the hatch cover, the actual cover that goes over the companionway slider. And that was basically because although it was a tight fit, there's not really any tension in the center, and it was kind of bagging out just a tiny bit. Alright, we got the bag of goodies. We're going to go out and do our second dry fit. Hopefully this time we're a lot closer to the final goal. Yeah, that fits like absolute dog shit. So I probably need to redo this whole front face entirely. Because that's just, you keep cutting and cutting and it's still too damn short. One of the problems we have is it's catching down here. We have two things that are catching. This lip is too high and it's catching a bit, and this one is too low and it's catching on the bottom. But you can see there's still a little laziness in the sides, so this one doesn't have the elastics. So what I think we're going to do is port and starboard will get elastics, fore and aft will get run-ins, and I'm just going to take them up the same as I did here at the bow, where I took it up an extra roll, an extra inch, and did these little tapers off on the sides so that it matches the rest. And that should give us the best of both worlds, so we'll do that to the other one as well. So this little skirt around the side that has the windows worked out pretty good, and once the hem is done in the bottom, it'll actually, and you'll put the strut in there, it'll actually hold itself in that position. Because again, there's still a little bit of play down here, but you kind of need the play to get it on. It's already getting to the point where it's quite stiff to get this thing on, and ideally we want to get it just stiff enough that it just barely gets on and it holds itself in position without having to add extra fasteners. So I did my second dry fit earlier today. It's now like 11 o'clock. I'm getting a little loopy. I'm not very good in the evenings. I'm more of a morning person. The hatch is a funny thing, and in order not to have it enclosed or have to take the whole thing off every single time you want to get in and out of the boat, we do need to work on either adding fasteners and also stiffening up certain sections of it. Now, to stiffen up canvas, there's a lot of things you can do. Like when you're sewing clothes, you add something called interfacing on canvas. I add upholstery vinyl, marine upholstery vinyl often. Sometimes I add sail dacron inside the actual canvas, or I just double and triple layer up on the canvas. But I'm going to continue this tomorrow morning because I'm very tired. Morning. We're going to do little mesh inserts. These are going to zip onto the bottom of that standalone little companionway cover, just the slider, and you'll be able to zip it on and zip it off. And we will also add covers
on top of this that'll actually cover the covering boards and make it completely UV and rain safe. So it'll do dual duty. It'll be a cover for letting air through without bugs in the tropics and keeping the sun and the rain off when you want that. So let's throw these together. Okay, we're going in for dry fit number 3. I think it's only been 3. Hopefully a lot more success today. Keep you from getting too sunburned down south. So when the Panamanian sun scorches your little ears off, it won't be 100% my fault. Okay, I'm not going to tell you guys exactly how many times. I think I did 4, 5 dry fits, and this is the last one. We're finally going back out to the boat and putting it on for the last time, installing the last few fasteners. But here's the covers. It's so nice now that it's like together and the hems are in, that the whole thing feels a lot more solid, like very, very solid. And it's one of those things that's very satisfying about this kind of work, is like you're messing around with loose bits of cloth for so long, and it's not till the very end that it like starts to actually feel like a complete object. So before we put it on the boat, I got to reapply some of the hydrophobic coating so that this is actually waterproof, and then we'll take it out to Tally Ho and we'll see how she fits. Teasing about that mess up on the other butterfly hatch, and I had to do the exact same thing. Canvas is finally done. Fits on the boat, it looks great.
First off, these look amazing.
Right.
I'm really impressed and grateful.
That wasn't a sure thing for a while. There was a lot of alterations to get it to this point, yeah.
These hatches are really unusual,
Yeah.
kind of complicated shapes. So,
Yeah.
I was intrigued to see how you're going to tackle it, and
Still pulling
I
through.
think you did a great job.
Yeah.
It's, with all these corners and stuff, it's hard to get everything taut, and then of course the hatch. These are a little bit unusual because they slide out the front,
Yeah.
which doesn't normally happen. From the beginning, I intended to get covers for all the hatches, and I did get a cover made for the butterfly hatch
Right.
in Townsend, and just didn't have time to get the other ones done before we left.
Mhm.
And the purpose is, obviously to protect the wood and protect the varnish, and you can take the covers off for photo ops,
Yeah.
or for regattas,
Yeah.
or for whenever, obviously to work on it. But a lot of the time, these are just sitting in the sun, sitting in the rain. No one's looking at them, or even on passage.
Right.
So this should make the varnish last a lot longer and reduce the amount of work we have to do. So yeah, we got in touch with you through
Maya and
Aldino, which is awesome.
And they're getting a Dodger made up, so I'm gonna take a couple days off, but I do have to continue sewing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be bummed because I got my covers before they.
Yeah, they're gonna give you a hard time about that, I'm sure.
But it just worked out. We came up on the way up.
Yeah.
Dropped in. You took some measurements. That was a month.
In the measurement method I did, I didn't love because we changed the design afterwards, which is probably the real crux of the issues I had at this project, because I didn't pattern it and wasn't thinking about all of that elements that I probably should have. And maybe I should have patterned it the way I do with Biminis and Dodgers, where it's like separate pieces are getting patterned separately,
right?
All part of one piece, but like separate chunks of it are getting patterned separately. And this, I tried to do it all in one go, and because of that, it was mainly the slider here on the top that really posed some problems and made the shape switch on me several times as you're working. So yeah, I don't know. I like bringing this back down to a hobby level, not doing this as my job anymore.
Yeah.
And just like learning again
Yeah.
and enjoying it, and rekindling a bit of the joy in sewing, because I was burning out on this for sure before. So it's nice. It's nice to work on Tally-Ho. It's a real honor. And I don't know, I've been watching this boat get built for the last 7 years, and I got to put some canvas on it, and that's really cool.
Well, it's an honor for us too, man.
Yeah,
It's great. We're really grateful. And great to also just hang out and
it's been
meet
nice
your
having you
buddies
some
in
day.
Gabriella and see your projects. It's a really cool spot you got here. Some good folks around.
It's not a Port Townsend, but it's something else.
It's
something
its
else.
own awesome vibe.
Yeah, it's a good place here. We like it.
Yeah.
We like it a lot. Right on, guys. Well, canvas is done. Looks great. See you guys next week.
Thanks, Simon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just over.
Barry, how confident are you that you're going to beat me in this race?
I don't know, we just took Alfy's beer, so that might really mess
I
up
feel like that's
everything.
we got a handicap.
Oh,
We
jeez.
just
Yeah.
got
And for the record, Alfy is rocking his
Got the 6.
15 knot 6 horse somehow.
But he has the. Well, I guess you have the least
Extra
amount of people
passengers,
too.
so.
Extra passengers. Sure, Alfy. There's the excuses.
Yeah.
We all know Alfy's going to win anyways. And they got Masha and Ed and their siren over there, Bo. They'll probably be pretty quick. And my bottom hasn't been scraped in a minute. So.
And Leo and Mart are rowing.
All right, Mercury, don't let me down. Please don't let me down again. All right, so we're heading off to Valdez now, and we are going to get there the fastest because we have the biggest engine, and that makes the most sense. Plus, my dinghy's the coolest. Somebody get out a pin and needle. We'll like pop all of them, and we'll get there. Was that 15 knots or 5? What was that?